China's surge in renewables and electrification is reshaping energy for the rest of the world, according to global think tank Ember. It found that in 2024, growth in clean generation accounted for 84% of electricity demand growth. In the first half of this year, it outstripped demand growth, resulting in a 2% fall in fossil generation compared with the same period the year before. From 2015 to 2023, fossil fuel use in buildings, industry and transport in China fell by 1.7%. The use of electricity grew by 65%. And 75% of global clean energy patent applications now come from Chinese companies. And that's up from just 5% in 2000. Richard Black is Director of Policy and Strategy at Ember, who released this report. Great to have you on the programme. So how is China leading the world's energy transition from an investment perspective?
Yes, well, China is definitely the biggest investor worldwide now in clean energy, accounting for about 1/3 of the global total. And I think that's quite a remarkable figure when you remember that Europe in particular is engaged in its own clean energy transition, and we see countries in Latin America and other Asian countries also invested in that. China is clearly outstripping everyone else in terms of the money that's being spent. And I think what's really important is that money is going into lots of different aspects of the transition. So it's wind and solar generation, it's building out the grid, it's building storage, it's electric vehicles, it's heat pumps, it's all of the things that are needed basically to take fossil fuel use eventually out of both electricity generation and end-use sectors.
It's investing in all of those things domestically and also abroad. But according to your report, there hasn't been a reduction in Chinese greenhouse gas emissions, which is, after all, the objective of the energy transition, isn't it? So is all of this investment more about the economy and strategy than sustainability?
Well, it's a very interesting question. So I think 10 years ago, one would have said, yes, the objective of the clean energy transition is to do with climate change. Now I think there are multiple objectives. One undoubtedly is climate change. There's also air pollution, which has been a big factor in China. But increasingly, investing in clean energy and building up your clean energy system is a way to make energy more affordable. It's a way to reduce import dependence, which is a very big issue for China, with 70% of oil, for example, coming from imports and 40% of gas. It's a way to guarantee energy security. And for China, as also the world's biggest manufacturer of pretty much all clean energy products, it's also a way to develop an export market. So out goes importing oil and gas, in comes exporting clean energy goods.
How do you think the rest of the world can benefit and maybe learn from China's green energy drive?
Well, I think it depends on where you are in the world. So countries in the global south where energy access is a problem, we've seen just in the last year many countries in Africa, for example, where imports of Chinese-made solar panels are really going up remarkably, and that's going to bring real benefits to citizens of those countries who didn't have access to electricity before. I think in what you might call the sort of middle tier of developing countries, so I'm thinking about Southeast Asia, some in Latin America, for example, there are clear opportunities to be gained partnering with Chinese companies, so building supply chains, building manufacture, which I think will in turn help cement the clean energy transition in those countries as well. And for the richest countries, particularly the EU and the United States, I think, there is a choice to be made between, do we try and build this ourselves and sort of catch up with China's lead, or do we basically just sort of buy the cheapest stuff, which generally will be Chinese? And, that's a difficult dilemma, especially in Europe. But clearly the one thing not to do is to go back to the fossil fuel economy when the rest of the world is very clearly moving in this clean energy direction.
Just quickly, Richard, I wonder, are they moving quickly in that direction, or is the rest of the world playing catch-up with China? I'm thinking about the patent figures, the clean energy patent applications, really striking, 75% of them from Chinese companies compared to 5% 25 years ago.
Yeah, on the manufacturing side and the innovation side, basically everyone is looking at playing catch up now. On deployment, it's a different ball game. You know, if you look at the shares of renewable generation, you know, China is one of the leaders, but not the leader in shares of electric vehicle adoption. China is one of the leaders, but not the leader. So it depends a little bit what you're looking at.
Richard Black, Director of Policy and Strategy at Ember. Great talking to you. Thank you.